Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and I am at GOLDENEGGHUNT on YouTube and Poshmark and the other reselling platforms that I am on. And I have really been racking my brain trying to think about what it was I wanted to talk about for my first full-length video. I thought about thrift haul, I thought about going over my best sales and my worst sales from the last month. But I was listening to a video on my way home from work today, and the person who was doing it is another YouTuber, and they were talking about, they just made a comment about mental health and reselling. And one of the things that they said was that in order for your mental health to get better, you need to get better at your reselling business. And it just struck me because I think there's things that are mentally hard about reselling. I mean, there's just things that are mentally hard about everything, but I think there's things that are mentally hard about reselling. It's something you're mostly doing by yourself. It's something that is variable. You can have, in the last week, I think even, I had one day where I had 0 sales, at least on Poshmark, but I think maybe across the board I had 0 sales. And then I've had days this last week where I have had 13 sales. So just day to day, it's inconsistent, it's unpredictable, and it's hard to know. And even though I'm now averaging 5 sales a day, there are still days that I don't get any sales, and I feel sad and pouty. And so I think there is some places, even when your reselling business is going well, to be talking about mental health. And if your reselling business isn't going well, I think it still makes sense to talk about mental health. Sometimes we're getting into reselling because something has happened. Maybe you've gone through a divorce, or you've had a change in your job that you either did or didn't pick, or you've had some other emotional thing that you're dealing with where you started buying things. And then you're like, oh, I need to do something with these things that I'm buying. I've read more than one post from somebody about how they started reselling after a loved one died. And I will even say from my own personal experience that the loss of somebody that was close to me definitely timed out in a pretty coincidental way with buying more stuff and then starting with reselling. So I just think there's so many facets of mental health that are just woven into reselling, and that it makes sense to be talking about them, and it makes sense to be looking at them outside of just how your business is doing, because your business can be doing great and you can still be feeling pretty isolated. Your business can be doing great and you can still have days where you have no sales and you feel personally affected by that. Emotionally, sometimes we get really attached to an item. And so figuring out how you kind of separate yourself from an item either that you think is super cute, or that's just been in your closet a long time, or something that you paid a lot for and you're getting offers that you're not making a lot of money on. All of those just have an emotional component to them. And if we ignore all of that, then I think we're missing out on a part of reselling that makes sense to think about. And beyond that, sometimes we just do need to take a step back and pay attention or think about our own just general mental health. Because if you're struggling with depression or anxiety or just have something else going on in your life, then you're going to be more vulnerable to experiencing those ups and downs that come with reselling. So even though this is a video about reselling and reseller content, I also think that just stepping back for a second and thinking about mental health within reselling, it's still a lot of the same things that are just about mental health, right? Resellers, we need to have a community, and I think online and YouTube provides a community that cares about stuff that maybe our friends don't. But I also think we need to be planning time with our friends. We need to be planning things that are happening outside of our reselling business so that we're not so affected by just the ups and downs of the reselling, because we have other social interactions going on. I'd encourage you to have other hobbies going on so that reselling isn't the only thing giving you feedback that things are going well or aren't going well. I think there's things you can do around how you handle things like offers. And pretty much all of the platforms provide some way of a buyer offering a seller, like making an offer of what they're willing to pay to the seller. And sometimes if those numbers come in and they're really low, that can be really defeating, or we can take that personally. And so figuring out how to separate yourself from that, or ways to view lowball offers, is actually a really good thing. Like on Poshmark, if somebody makes you an offer, everybody else who's liked that item gets a notification that there's an offer out, and it adds to a sense of urgency and gets potentially another buyer to actually go in and buy that item. I think it's also an opportunity to have activity on the site. So regardless of site, algorithms like active sellers. And so if you're on there and you are responding to offers, that's an opportunity to be active on the site and to sort of please the algorithms. So I don't think I have ever declined an offer. After several back and forths, I have let one expire. Just because I didn't think it was worth continuing to go back and forth. But I've never just out and out denied one, especially on a first round. Because also part of negotiations is giving a low offer, right? If they're trying to get the best deal, which is kind of what everybody online is trying to do, it does make sense for them to give a low offer to try to get the best deal that they can. So I think that I'll continue to do some other videos about mental health. I didn't really sit down and plan this video. It really was just my reaction to this idea that mental health was something that would be fixed by making your business better, as opposed to mental health being something that I think you need to be practicing daily. Like self-care needs to be part of what you're doing. You need to be aware of what emotions are getting tapped into by what you're selling or not selling, so that you're able to be more focused on your business and some of the more data-driven information like comps and sell-through rate and some of those things. But if you're at a place where you're dealing with depression, or you're responding internally negatively to lowball offers, it's just going to make it harder for you to do things to improve your business if that's something that's going on. And it also doesn't disappear. Like those mental health issues don't potentially disappear when you're making a lot of sales. It's like I said, I'm making about 5 sales a day. I think on average I'm at 5 sales a day right now. And if I don't have a sale in a day, you can ask the people around me, I'm like, I didn't get any sales today. I don't know what's going on. What's wrong? And invariably the next day I have sales and it makes up for it. But I'm still really sensitive to that. And so that's something that as I continue to grow my business, I'm going to pay attention to and work on and make sure that I'm recognizing this is just the ebbs and flows of the business. And it doesn't mean that the, floor has come out from underneath me or anything. It really is just the ebbs and flows. So I really appreciate you listening. I think I will expand on some of these points because I don't know how much this is talked about. I didn't really do a search, but it was just a topic that struck a chord, and I just wanted to come on and share my thoughts. So I appreciate it if you've listened to this video all the way through. If you're not already a subscriber, please follow and subscribe. I think these are important topics to talk about. I'll also do some thrift hauls and share those sales with you, but also, to have a forum to talk about some of these things that are maybe a little taboo or that we don't like to talk about, but that are part of reselling too. So like this video. I appreciate you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you next time.